Ah, my dear little listener, come close and let Grandpa tell you a tale that begins on a night just like this, with the rain tapping gently on the rooftops and the wind sighing through the trees. This is the story of a boy named Finn, whose curiosity was as boundless as the stars hidden behind tonight's heavy clouds. Now, Finn lived in a quiet village that bordered a place most folks spoke of only in hushed tones, Willow Hollow, a valley where the trees grew tall and twisted, their branches hanging low like they bore great secrets. They said no one who wandered too deep into Willow Hollow ever came back quite the same. But Finn, with his bright eyes and brave heart, was drawn to those woods the way a moth is drawn to lantern light. One stormy night, when the rain was falling in silver sheets and thunder growled in the distance, Finn saw it, a strange flickering light deep within the hollow. It wasn't the glow of lantern or fire. No, it was something colder, bluer, like moonlight trapped beneath the earth. And before he could stop himself, Finn pulled on his boots, grabbed his father's old walking stick, and slipped out into the storm, following that ghostly light toward the hollow's waiting shadows. The rain swallowed the sound of his footsteps, and the night seemed to close in around him, the air thick with mystery. He did not know it yet, but with that first bold step, he had begun a journey that would change him forever. A journey into the heart of Willow Hollow, where secrets older than the village itself waited in the dark. The rain fell harder as Finn crossed the meadow that bordered Willow Hollow, the grass brushing against his legs, wet and cold, while the storm's wind tugged at his cloak. Each step brought him closer to the tangled edge of the hollow, where the trees loomed like silent sentries beneath the storm's dark sky. The strange blue light flickered deeper within, as if it danced just beyond reach, urging him onward. The villagers' warnings echoed faintly in his mind, tales of travelers led astray by ghostly lights, of voices in the hollow that whispered promises or threats, of paths that twisted back on themselves. But Finn's heart beat with determination, his curiosity burning brighter than his fear. The hollow's entrance was a narrow gap between two ancient willows, their trunks gnarled and roots exposed, as though they had clawed their way out of the earth. He paused beneath their dripping branches, listening. The storm seemed to hush for a moment, and in that silence he heard it, a low hum, like a song carried by the wind, strange and sorrowful. With a deep breath, Finn stepped between the willows, leaving the safety of the meadow behind. The air inside the hollow was cooler, heavy with the scent of wet bark and moss. The rain found its way through the canopy in silver threads, and the trees formed walls around him, their branches arching overhead like the ribs of a great beast. The light was closer now, and as Finn followed it deeper, the path beneath his feet grew soft with mud and scattered leaves, the sounds of the village fading into memory. What lay ahead in the heart of the hollow, Finn could not yet guess, but he knew he was part of the mystery now, and there would be no turning back. The deeper Finn ventured into Willow Hollow, the more the world outside seemed to slip away, swallowed by the hush of ancient trees and the soft, ceaseless patter of rain on leaves. The strange blue light wove through the woods ahead of him like a will-o'-the-wisp, always close enough to tempt, but never still enough to grasp. The muddy path beneath his boots narrowed to little more than a deer trail, flanked by moss-covered stones and roots that curled like sleeping serpents. The air felt thick,
as if the hollow itself held its breath, watching him. Every now and then the low, sorrowful hum rose again, carried on the breeze, a melody that made the hair on Finn's neck stand on end. He tried to convince himself it was only the wind, or the cry of some hidden bird sheltering from the storm, but deep down he knew better. The light dipped behind a great fallen tree, its bark slick with rain and rotted with age, and as Finn climbed over, his hand brushed against something carved into the wood. He paused, lantern raised high, and saw faint markings beneath the moss, symbols worn by time, but unmistakable, a spiral, a crescent, a hand. Someone, long ago, had left a sign here, perhaps a warning, perhaps a map. The light flared brighter ahead, as if urging him to move on. Finn's heart pounded, but his feet kept walking, drawn deeper into the hollow's maze. Around him, the trees grew closer, their branches woven so tightly that the storm's roar faded to a muffled murmur, as if he'd stepped into another world entirely, a world where the rules of daylight no longer applied. The light danced on and Finn followed, knowing now that this was no ordinary mystery. Willow Hollow was waking, and its secrets were ready to be found. Finn pressed onward, his boots squelching in the sodden earth, his breath misting in the cool air, as the rain continued its soft song above. The deeper he went, the stranger the hollow became. The trees no longer stood apart like sentinels. Now they seemed to lean toward him, their trunks twisted, their bark split by age, their branches low and heavy, forming arches that framed his path like doorways into forgotten realms. The blue light, his only guide, floated ahead with an eerie grace, casting long, wavering shadows that danced on the wet ground. Finn's lantern flickered in his hand, its warm glow fighting against the hollow's chill. He caught glimpses of things in the undergrowth, a glint of something metallic, half buried in the mud, the outline of a stone that looked far too smooth and shaped to be natural, patches of mushrooms that glowed faintly, as if sharing in the strange magic that filled the air. The humming grew clearer, not louder, but more defined, like a voice singing without words, its melody filled with longing and sorrow. Finn's heart beat faster, not with fear now, but with the thrill of discovery. He ducked beneath a fallen limb and found himself at the edge of a clearing, a place where the rain fell freely, the trees given way to a circle of ancient stones, their surfaces etched with the same markings he'd seen on the fallen tree. And there, at the center of the circle, the blue light hovered, brighter than ever, illuminating the hollow with its cold, ghostly glow. The clearing felt sacred, untouched by time, as if waiting for this moment. Finn stepped forward, drawn as much by the stillness as by the light, his heart whispering that whatever secret Willow Hollow guarded, it lay within this ring of stone. Finn stood at the edge of the clearing, the rain sliding down his face, mingling with the sweat of his long trek, though he scarcely noticed either. The blue light at the clearing's center pulsed softly, like the heartbeat of the hollow itself, casting an otherworldly glow on the ancient stones that surrounded it. Each stone stood tall and weathered, their surfaces slick with rain and carved deep with the strange symbols, spirals, crescents, and handprints, as if countless generations had marked this place with their stories and warnings. The ground within the circle was bare of grass, only dark, rich earth beneath Finn's boots, as though nothing dared grow where such magic lingered. The hum was clearer now, weaving its sorrowful melody through the air, and as Finn stepped closer, he realized it came from the light itself. Not a voice, not quite, but a song of longing that seemed to call not to his ears, but to his heart. His fingers tightened around the handle of his lantern, though its warm glow felt small and fragile against the blue brilliance before him. He crossed the boundary of the stone circle, half expecting the air to grow heavy or the earth to shift beneath his feet. But the only change was in the light. It brightened as if welcoming him, as if recognizing him. At the very center, where the light hovered, the soil was disturbed, as though something had been buried or unearthed there not long ago. Finn knelt, his heart racing, his breath shallow, and brushed the damp earth with trembling fingers. His fingertips struck something solid, smooth, cool, and shaped by hands. As he cleared the soil, the object revealed itself, a small, round disk of silver engraved with the same spiral and crescent he had seen all through the hollow. The light pulsed again, softer now, as if waiting to see what he would do next. Finn knew he had found the heart of the mystery, but its secret had only just begun to unfold. Finn held the silver disk in his hand, its cool surface heavy with meaning, though he could not yet grasp what that meaning was. The intricate spiral and crescent were more than mere decorations. They felt purposeful, ancient, as if they belonged to a language forgotten by the world, but remembered by the hollow. The blue light hovered close, casting its glow over his face and the disk, and for a moment Finn imagined he could hear words hidden within the hum, fragments of a song too old for human voices. The clearing seemed to lean in, the stones watching, the rain falling more gently now, as if the very sky paused to see what would come next. Finn turned the disk over, and on its reverse was a symbol new to him, a tree with wide roots and reaching branches, encircled by tiny stars. The engraving was worn but clear, as if time itself had spared it so he might see. His heart pounded with wonder and unease, for he knew instinctively that this was not meant to be found by just anyone, that the hollow had chosen him, or perhaps tested him, and that his discovery was only the beginning of what it demanded. The blue light pulsed once more,
then began to drift toward the edge of the clearing, slow and deliberate, as if beckoning him to follow. Finn rose, tucking the disk safely into the leather pouch at his side, his mind spinning with questions, but his feet already moving to keep pace with the light. The forest beyond the stones waited, darker now, thicker, the path hidden beneath roots and fallen leaves. And yet Finn felt no fear, only the weight of purpose, as if his steps had been set long before this night, and all that remained was to walk the road that had always been his. The blue light glided ahead, slipping between the ancient trees like a silent guide, and Finn followed, his boots sinking softly into the wet, leaf-strewn earth. The forest seemed denser now, as if the trees had drawn closer together, their branches tangling overhead to form a dark canopy that turned day to dusk beneath its shelter. The air smelled rich and wild, of moss, wet bark, and the deep, secret heart of the hollow that few had ever seen. Finn's lantern swung at his side, but its glow felt small beneath the eerie, steady gleam of the blue light that led him deeper into the woods. His mind raced with questions. What was this silver disk he had found? Why did the hollow seem to call to him, as if he were part of its ancient tale? And what lay ahead, where the light now beckoned him beyond any path he had ever walked? The hum continued,
low and steady, threading through the air like a forgotten lullaby. Every so often, Finn glimpsed strange shapes in the undergrowth, a fallen statue, its face worn smooth by rain, the remains of a stone well, half buried beneath ivy, a toppled archway that hinted at walls long crumbled into the earth. It was as if the hollow hid the bones of a place that had once been more than forest, a place with people and stories lost to time. The light paused at a break in the trees where the ground fell away into a hollow of its own, a wide basin lined with stones, at its center a pool of still water black as ink beneath the stormy sky. The light hovered above the pool, waiting as if the next piece of the mystery lay beneath that silent, dark surface. Finn stepped closer, the chill of the place sinking into his bones, and gazed down, his own reflection staring back. A boy changed by wonder, by fear, by the promise of secrets soon to be revealed. Finn stood at the edge of the stone basin, his breath misting in the cold air, his reflection rippling in the pool below as raindrops disturbed its dark surface. The blue light hovered above the water, its glow casting faint, wavering patterns across the stones and illuminating the pool's depths just enough to reveal the suggestion of something beneath, a glint of metal, the curve of a hidden shape, like a secret waiting to be claimed. The hum deepened, and Finn felt it in his chest, a gentle vibration that seemed to urge him forward, to trust, to reach. He knelt beside the pool, his fingers trembling as he extended a hand toward the water's surface. The chill was immediate, biting, but not unkind, as if the pool tested his resolve, asking whether he truly wished to uncover what lay hidden in the hollow's heart. His fingers found it, smooth, cold metal lodged in the silty bottom. Slowly, carefully, he lifted it free, water cascading from it in silver streams. It was a key, large, old, and heavy, fashioned from black iron, its bow shaped like the same spiral and crescent that adorned the silver disk. The grooves of its teeth were worn, but precise, as if this key had been made for a single purpose, a single lock, and had waited here in the pool's stillness for longer than memory. As Finn cradled it in his hands, the blue light pulsed brightly, as if in approval, then drifted away from the pool's edge, deeper into the woods. The rain softened to a fine mist, and the hollow seemed to lean closer still, watching, listening, as Finn rose with the key in his grasp. He did not know what door or gate or hidden place it would open, only that he was meant to find it, and that the hollow's true secret lay just ahead, waiting to be unveiled. With the iron key gripped firmly in his hand, its cold weight anchoring him to the strange reality of his journey, Finn followed the blue light as it glided deeper into Willow Hollow's ancient embrace. The forest around him felt alive in a way he had never sensed before, the trees no longer mere sentries, but witnesses to the unfolding of a story written in roots and stone and rain. The path beneath his boots was no longer a clear trail, but a tapestry of moss, fallen leaves, and tangled branches, as if the hollow wished to test his determination one final time. The key's intricate spiral and crescent gleamed faintly whenever the blue light pulsed, as if the two shared some bond, a link between the key and the force that had drawn him here. The hum that filled the air grew more complex, layered now with faint echoes, like voices murmuring in a forgotten tongue, their tones neither menacing nor kind, but ancient and waiting. Finn's heart raced, but not from fear. No, it was wonder that filled him now, wonder at the thought that he was walking where few had dared, toward a secret kept safe through countless storms and seasons. At last, the trees parted, revealing a stone archway so hidden by ivy and thyme that it seemed almost part of the forest itself. Beneath it stood a door of dark wood bound with black iron, its surface carved with the same symbols that had guided him: spirals, crescents, the great tree with roots deep and branches wide. The key felt warm in his hand, as if it recognized the lock it had been forged to meet. Finn stepped closer, his breath shallow, the air heavy with the weight of the moment, and raised the key toward the waiting door, knowing that whatever lay beyond would change him and the hollow forever. Finn's hand trembled slightly as he lifted the key, its iron surface slick with rain and the warmth of his grasp. The door before him, weathered by countless storms and the steady march of time, seemed to breathe beneath the weight of the hollow's hush, as though it too had been waiting for this boy, on this night, with this key. The carvings upon its dark wood glistened where the rain traced their grooves, the spirals and crescents seeming to shift and turn in the flickering glow of Finn's lantern, and the steady blue light that hovered nearby. With a breath deep enough to steady his racing heart, Finn pressed the key into the lock. The iron teeth slid home with a satisfying click that echoed through the clearing like a promise kept. The door groaned as he turned the key, its voice deep and ancient, and slowly swung inward, revealing a passage beyond that seemed untouched by time. Cool air, rich with the scent of earth and stone, rolled out to meet him, carrying with it a faint glow, not the cold blue of the guiding light, but a warm golden radiance, as if the hollow itself harbored a hidden sun. The blue light bobbed once beside him, as if nodding in approval, then drifted through the doorway and into the dark beyond. Finn followed, his feet stepping over the threshold and onto the smooth stone floor of the hidden chamber. The walls were lined with carvings, deeper and clearer than those outside, stories etched in spiral paths, crescent moons, stars, and trees, telling a tale he longed to understand. The golden light came from the heart of the chamber, where something rested upon a stone pedestal, a small delicate box of silver and wood, its lid inlaid with the great tree symbol and encircled by stars. Finn approached slowly, knowing in his bones that this was the hollow's true secret, and that what lay within the box would answer the questions that had haunted the village for generations. Finn stepped closer to the pedestal, his breath catching in his throat as the golden glow from the box filled the chamber, casting soft light upon the ancient carvings that lined the walls. The warmth of that light seemed to ease the chill of the hollow that had clung to him through his journey, as if whatever lay within the box was not meant to frighten, but to heal and reveal. The blue light that had guided him now hovered silently above the pedestal, no longer leading him forward, but standing guard over the treasure it had brought him to. The box itself was beautiful beyond anything Finn had ever seen. The silver gleamed like starlight, the wood rich and dark, polished smooth by hands long gone. The tree on the lid spread its branches wide, its roots coiling deep, and around it the tiny stars seemed to shimmer in the flickering light of his lantern. Every inch of it spoke of care, of craftsmanship, of meaning lost to time, but waiting now to be understood. His fingers hesitated just above the lid, sensing the weight of history in this simple gesture. What secrets had this box kept safe through all the years? What truth did the hollow wish him to know? He drew in a deep breath, feeling the hush of the chamber press close, and with steady hands lifted the lid. Inside, nestled in dark velvet, was a single crystal, clear, flawless, shaped like a tear. It pulsed gently with that same golden glow, as if alive, as if it held within it the light of the hollow's heart. Finn gazed at it, spellbound, and understood in that moment that his journey had not only been about solving a mystery, but about being chosen as the keeper of something precious, a promise, a memory, a hope that the hollow had protected through ages of silence, waiting for one who would honor it as it deserved. Finn's fingers hovered over the crystal, the soft glow of its golden light reflecting in his wide, awestruck eyes. The tear-shaped gem seemed to hum with quiet life, its warmth seeping into the air around it, as though it carried the memory of all that Willow Hollow had seen: storms and stars, sorrow and hope, endings and beginnings. The chamber itself felt alive, as if the stone walls, the ancient carvings, even the very earth beneath his feet, waited for him to understand the weight of what he had found. The blue light that had been his guide throughout this strange, wondrous journey now circled the pedestal slowly, its glow mingling with the crystal's light in a gentle dance, like two old friends reunited at last. Finn felt the depth of the moment settle over him, that this was no mere treasure, no simple relic, but something sacred. He reached out, his hand steady despite the wonder racing through his heart, and lifted the crystal from its resting place. It was lighter than he expected, smooth as riverstone, and warm, so warm it felt as though it held a sun's heartbeat within. As he cradled it, a breeze seemed to stir the air, though no wind should have reached so deep into the earth. The carvings on the walls, long silent, seemed to whisper as the golden light grew brighter, filling the chamber, illuminating every spiral and crescent, every tree and star etched into the stone. Finn turned slowly, seeing with new eyes the stories told in those carvings of a time when the hollow was a sanctuary, a place of healing, guarded by those who had walked before him, who had given their strength to protect this crystal of light. And now the hollow had passed that duty to him, a boy who had followed curiosity into the storm and found at its heart a promise to keep. Finn stood there, deep within the earth, the crystal cradled in his hands like a fragile flame. Its golden glow bathed him in warmth, and the walls of the chamber seemed to lean closer, the carvings no longer silent, but singing a story he could almost understand, of guardians who came before him, of storms weathered, of nights when the hollow itself seemed to breathe with the rhythm of the world. The blue light, his silent guide, now drifted near, circling him gently, as if to say that its part of the journey was done, that the rest now belonged to him. Finn felt the weight of that truth, but not as a burden. No, it was a gift, a calling, as sure as the rain that still fell somewhere above, as sure as the roots of the great trees that bound the hollow's secrets to the earth. Slowly he turned toward the doorway, the crystal's light illuminating the path that had brought him here. The chamber seemed reluctant to let him go, the air thick with farewell, but the hollow's gift was not meant to be hidden away again. As Finn stepped back into the tunnel, the key and the silver disc safe in his pouch, he felt the forest stir above him, a promise that it would always watch over him, that it would always remember. The crystal's light pulsed gently in his hand, guiding him now as the blue glow once had, and with each step Finn felt the world open before him, filled with new wonder and the quiet knowledge that his journey had only just begun. As Finn's boots met the worn cobblestone of the village's edge, a hush seemed to settle over the world, as if even the waking day paused to mark his return. The clouds, scattered now by the dawn's slow rise, painted the sky in soft hues of silver and rose, their edges tinged with gold where the sun touched them. The air was cool and clean, carrying the scent of rain-washed earth and wood smoke curling from cottage chimneys. Finn stopped for a moment, turning back to look at the line of trees that marked the hollow's boundary. They stood tall and still, their leaves dripping with the last of the night storm, and in that quiet he felt the weight of the promise he carried, not the weight of the crystal, the key, or the silver disk, though those rested heavily in his pouch, but the deeper weight of responsibility, of knowing he had been chosen by a place that most feared or forgot. The hollow had opened its heart to him, and in return it had asked him to remember, to protect its secret, to honor its story. As he walked through the village, past familiar doors and windows where early risers peeked out at the soft morning, he felt the questions that would come. Where had he been through the storm? What had he found? What had drawn him into the forest on such a night? But those questions could not be answered with simple words. The true answers lay beneath the roots of ancient trees, in the carvings of forgotten hands, in the light of a crystal shaped like a tear. And so Finn walked on, his step steady, his heart full of the hollow song, knowing that this journey had changed him in ways no one could see, and that one day, when the hollow called again, he would be ready to answer. The village might return to its rhythm, the hollow might grow quiet once more, but Finn had become part of its story forever, a silent guardian beneath the watching stars. The village slowly came to life around Finn as he made his way along its familiar paths, yet everything felt subtly altered, as though he were seeing it all through new eyes, eyes that had looked upon ancient secrets and shared breath with the heart of the hollow. The thatched roofs glistened with morning dew, and soft curls of smoke rose steadily from chimneys as families prepared for the day ahead. A rooster crowed in the distance, its call cutting through the gentle hush that followed the night's storm. Neighbors stepped out onto porches and paths, their faces marked with curiosity, relief, and unspoken questions as they spotted Finn striding through the village with purpose in his step and the gleam of something unknowable in his eyes. He offered them quiet nods, polite smiles, but kept his pace, knowing that no tale he could tell would satisfy their wonder, for what he carried now belonged as much to the hollow as it did to him. The key, the disk, and the crystal nestled safely against his chest, their weight a comforting reminder of the trust placed upon him. And though the blue light had faded into the morning mist, Finn still felt its presence, not as a glow to follow, but as a part of him, a guide woven into his spirit. He passed the old well where he and other children once played, the market square where voices would soon fill the air with cheerful chatter, and the churchyard where the oldest stones stood like silent watchers of the village's many seasons. And as he walked, Finn understood that his true task had only begun, to live quietly, to protect the memory of the hollow's gift, and to wait, knowing that one day the forest might call again. For secrets such as these did not sleep forever, and guardians like him were never truly finished with their duty. The dawn stretched higher, casting warm light upon the land, and Finn walked on, carrying with him the hollow's timeless promise. As Finn reached the edge of the village, where the fields rolled gently toward the horizon, and the hollow's trees stood distant but ever watchful, he paused one final time, the soft morning breeze stirring his rain-damp hair. The storm had passed, but its memory lingered in the glistening leaves, the scent of wet earth and the hush that still wrapped the world in its quiet embrace. He drew in a long breath, filling his lungs with the clean air that tasted of renewal, of endings that were really beginnings. In his pouch, the crystal pulsed faintly against his chest, a living reminder of the night's journey, of the secret he now bore as its silent keeper. The key and the silver disc clinked softly with each step, their presence a promise that the hollow story would not be forgotten so long as he walked this earth. Finn turned his face toward the rising sun, its golden light spilling over the fields and catching the droplets that clung to every blade of grass like tiny jewels. The village behind him would soon stir fully awake, its people returning to their daily lives, unaware of how close they had been to the mysteries that slept beneath the forest's roots. But Finn knew, and he carried that knowing with quiet pride. A boy no longer just of the village, but of the hollow too, a bridge between two worlds. As he began his walk home, the last whispers of the hollow's song faded into the breeze, leaving behind only peace and the certain truth that when the forest called again, he would be ready, guided by the light he now carried within. And so the tale of the night ended, not with grand farewells or final words, but with the steady heartbeat of a promise kept beneath the endless sky.